988 181 988 181 988 181. Okay, I'm in. Okay, going live. Select photo. Okay, and see. So, and then, ano nga ba? RTMP on. Okay, going live in 5. Going live. 3, 2, 1. Hello, hi, hello, good afternoon to all of you. Welcome to the Gen Z show. This is, of course, your weekly show of career-oriented uh, tips from your very own coaches. So my name is Floy, and of course, today, no other than our
Hey
co-host.
guys, it's Jamie
Yeah.
once again.
Hi, Jamie. How are you? How's your week?
I'm doing great, sir. Actually, I just had a very mundane weekend. Like I did some paintings. Alam mo, yung mga
Okay.
therapeutic lang for
Wow.
for myself. How about you, Sir Floyd?
Well, I had a good bonding, good weekend bonding with my family. It's the birthday of of course, my one and only and very beautiful wife, and of course, yeah,
Wow.
yeah, I had to spend the weekend with them. Kasi for me naman, Jamie, it's a must. If it's a
Right.
weekend, I
Mhm.
should spend my weekends with my family. How about you? How do you do your weekends?
Weekend, I usually try with all my works. I actually had like a plan 2 weeks ahead of my
Mm-hmm.
schedule because it
Wow.
was really it's really
CEO.
yeah, kind of busy, but yeah, what I do usually is to spend time with my family and friends because that's the only days that I have for them because weekdays is just really busy with work and all. So yeah,
So
weekends would be
when you
very special. Hmm.
when you work on a weekly basis, that means you don't give that much time when it comes to balancing your personal life and work itself, or if is it like pag weekend, most of your personal stuff you do it there, and then on the weekly basis it's all about work. Is that the kind of work attitude you do, or that's that kumbaga nakasanayan na?
Yeah, actually, I'm on the process of balancing it, Pastor Floyd. Because right now, sometimes when for example, it's weekend, I don't have other things to do. I tend to
Mhm.
work. I tend to
Okay.
work. So kahit weekend, I do some works kasi wala akong plan for my, I mean, family lunch or something, family
Mhm.
bonding. So I don't really have that. Ang iniisip ko kasi, this is actually, our topic today will be very interesting for me personally because it's a struggle for me as well because I don't know the boundaries between the working and my personal life. So
Okay.
I'm
Okay.
still in the process of doing that, hopefully.
Well, you have to. I'm also curious, of course, when you say that most of the time you work, and of course there are also moments wherein even if it's a weekend, you also get to work. So
Yeah.
will that also? I think that will also affect your mental health. So we're talking about how you get to appreciate more of the things that you do. Kasi di ba, I mean, that's one thing for you to say that you have a very good career when you're happy with what you're doing. At the same time, you have enough time with your loved ones, di ba?
Right.
So is that intentional that you get to work on a weekend basis as well, or I mean, kumbaga, wala bang, I mean, of course you have your loved ones, you have your someone special as well, no? So I mean, these are things that should be standard when it comes to.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if
Mm-hmm.
it's a weekend, you should spend most of your weekends with them. So
Mm-hmm.
is that one thing that you are? I mean, you said that you're also struggling with that, but given a chance, no, will you accept that? Accept the fact na if it's a weekend, you have to stop working. You
Mm-hmm.
have to make sure that no one will call you. I mean, for me, that's my. It's really a must. I mean, I
Right.
my personal struggle before, no, is I tend to work so much
Mm-hmm.
that costs me it caused me to be very ill. No, I got I had, well, of course, for some of those for those who know my story, so I had the brain tumor before, and
Mm-hmm.
the reason why I had that, it's because I've been working so hard, regardless whatever the time it is, whatever if it's a weekend, I don't really mind, because for me it's my career on the line. Then later I just
Right.
realized that, I mean, man, I've been spending so much time with work that I had to I mean, yung katawan ko na yung bumigay. So and it just don't happen to me. It happens to a lot of people. Yeah,
Right.
even I know you've heard about the story of um a um a remote worker. She was able to have so much gigs. I mean, so much projects with a lot of foreign clients. She's been, I think she or he, I forgot if it's, well, for anonymity. So this person have worked with, I think, more than 5 clients on a weekly basis. Even on the weekends now, he or she gets to work until to such point that she's been earning, or he's been earning so much that it went to as high as 6 digits. May times pa lang pa daw yata na it became more than 6 digits. And um to, well, of course, she was able to make money. That's good. But the thing is
Mm-hmm.
that one day she got sick, or he got sick, and then he went to the hospital. He was given a diagnosis from the doctor that it was cancer, or it is cancer.
Oh, okay.
This person lost all of her or his savings in just
Mm-hmm.
one instance. Kasi nga, I mean, he or she lost his savings because she had or he had to go to the hospital on a regular basis, all the consultations, all the checkups, hospitalization, cancer treatment, of course, where we're talking about cancer treatment here. And when we're talking about hospitalization here in the Philippines, it's also expensive. So, I
Right.
mean, that's one thing that we also have to realize, that we really need to have that balance when it comes to work and our personal life. When we say that if it's time if it's if we've worked more than 8 hours already for the day, and you were able to do all your tasks for the day, you have to stop it already. I mean, that's me, that's my point of view there. So I mean, I know that I mean, what can you say about it, Jamie?
Well, it's actually sad because that's I know for a fact that he or she is not the only one who's struggling right now in that kind of situation. And I believe that, we live in a world where hustle and burnout treats as an honor,
Yeah.
and that's sad. So this kind of topic will open our eyes how important it is to balance everything out. Because if
Yeah.
not, yeah, we don't want to be like that, like what happened to someone you
Yeah.
know.
To
Yeah,
that, well, that one I saw from in my social media
his
timeline.
feed. Right, right.
I was also shocked with what happened, and somehow I was able to relate with the story of that person. Kasi nga, it, I mean, as what I said, it just did not happen to me. It also happened to a lot of people, or it's been happening to a lot of people. When we say that, yes, you get to work hard. It's kumbaga, it's grind time. So when I mean, yes, we get to romanticize it, but we have to realize that hey, you only have one life.
Right.
So you have to realize that yes, you can make a lot of money. Okay, fine. Maybe you're at the peak of your career. Fine, you're getting so much money and you want to make more. But when you get to lose it, when you get to be sick, all of those things that you were able to earn, you just lose it in just one glimpse. No, I mean that's a
Correct.
reality, very sad reality, and we have to know this fact. But anyway, I don't want to talk so much about it. So let's introduce our guest who is also a very reputable guest. This guy has been working as a human capital head. He has worked with a lot of companies, from different startups, from the biggest multinational companies, as a human resource director. I think today he's been working. Today he's been working with one. Well, it's I can say one of the most established tobacco company in the world. No, so that's JTI, Japan Tobacco International. So yes, so I mean I don't want to let's introduce more about our guest by having him in the screen. So ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Mr. Danji Reyes. He's also a good friend of mine.
Hello, hello Floyd, Jamie, hello. Can you hear me?
Hi, Sir Dan. Yes, we can hear you loud and clear.
Hello,
Yun.
hello.
So, Danj, we've been talking about work-life balance, and right now, I think you just came from work. You just, but I think your background is not. You're not like in the office. I think you're
No,
somewhere.
I mean,
Yeah.
I just came
So
from a workshop. No, I'm in a
okay,
hotel right now. Yeah.
okay. So, Danj, I mean, let's go straight to the point. When we're talking about having a work life balance, so how you will handle it? I mean, if you've been working so hard, so I think we just lost his connection. But so yeah, we're waiting for Danji to come in again. So when we're talking about work life balance, so a lot of people have been struggling with these things, no? Kasi yun nga,
Me.
just me, like you, Jamie. So, ayun, so
Sorry, I'm back.
okay. Sige. So Dan, so let's go direct to the point. When we say work-life balance, how do you handle this kind of issue? So, meaning for someone like Jamie, for example, Jamie's been working so hard. I've seen Jamie have grown from the previous company that we have worked with, and today she was acquiring a lot of clients at the same time. But I can see that yes, she's working so hard, but yun nga, just what she mentioned, she's having problems when it comes to balancing everything, her work, her life. So, what can you say about in your own personal experience about having a balanced work, or having a work life balance?
Okay. So thank you for having me. Well, if you look at the history of work, no, it's been the work-life balance concept has been existing for quite some time now, and uh, even after the industrialization, the work-life balance concept has been introduced because people tend to work really, really hard, no? And they fail to set the boundary between life and their life, which is outside work, and their work per se. So it's been an ongoing concept for a long time. But since the pandemic, no, or even a little bit before the pandemic, the concept of work-life balance has actually evolved. No? And now I know you've been reading a lot of articles around this topic, but there has been a new concept called work-life integration.
Okay.
Okay, so because when we talk about balance, no, you always think about 50-50. No?
Mm-hmm.
Kailangan equal yung buhay ko sa work ko, no, and
Mm-hmm.
you tend to put a boundary in between, no. But the concept actually has evolved because of the changing demands of our work, no, be it in customer service or be it in in finance or any other function for that matter, the demands have changed, no, over the years, no? Because again, the business landscape, the customer landscape has also changed, has also
Okay.
evolved significantly over the years. So because of the change of the demand or the landscape that we are in, it has evolved to work-life integration. No? So what's the difference between work-life balance and work-life integration? Work-life balance, we know that. I discussed that already. 50-50, kailangan hati,
Okay.
kailangan may boundary. No?
Okay.
Work-life integration is actually trying to eliminate the boundary in between. Okay?
Okay.
And it gives you the option to work on what is it that you would like to prioritize in a given period. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so for example, no, you can attend a meeting through a call. Because of technology, people can actually take calls or attend meetings remotely. So while you're taking a call, maybe you can drive your son or your child to school. No,
Mm-hmm.
that's already possible. No, so you try to blend both your work and your life at the same time through work-life integration. Ang caveat lang dito is you don't have to choose work-life integration, no, if it doesn't suit you. No,
Okay.
uh, it's an open option. The key here is that in work life integration, what's more important is that you establish flexibility and you
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
accept the fact that work is actually part of your life.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because there are people who really, who can really produce, who can be very productive while doing their household chores at the same time. No, so
Okay.
it really all boils down to what you want to prioritize in a given period of time. I'd like to underscore the fact in a given period of time, because that can be an hour, that can be a day, that can be a week. No,
Okay.
obviously we all come up with plans, no, all sorts of plans. We plan for the day, or we plan for the hour, we plan for the next 4 hours. It really depends on you. No?
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, there has to be a certain level of flexibility in your plans. Okay,
Okay.
so first, yung time frame mo, kailangan mong ma-define yan. No, is your cycle running for like 4 hours or a day or an hour? And
Mm-hmm.
if so, if you're able to determine that, then you have to take down or list down your priorities, no? Whether it's about life or about work. No? And that's work life integration. Um, another point that I'd like to mention is that maybe we're just daydreaming, no, that the all types of work can actually be done remotely or at home. Kasi nabasa ko yung topic natin ngayon. Again, it's the next one, no, which is work from home.
Yeah.
We have to accept the reality, no, that there are types of work that aren't really supposed to be done at home. No? And,
Mm-hmm.
and that is something that we have to accept as working professionals. No? So if your line of work requires you really to spend 8 hours in the office, then you have to accept that. Now, if you're not happy, no, that's a
Mm-hmm.
different story. If you're not happy with the work that you do, which requires you to be, 8 hours in the office, then you have to find another and explore other opportunities. Yeah. What I'm saying here is that you have to be in touch with reality as well. Okay.
Okay.
So when you do work life integration, in case you want that, you want to go to work life integration, uh, you have to make sure that yung work environment mo is really conducive and it allows you to be flexible. Okay? I think that has to be the perspective. Oh, that's the very first thing that you have to check. And then of course, towards the end, no, if minsan, I guess, sorry if I may be jumping the gun, but really it's an entire concept and I can spend a day to discuss. But how do we know if there's just too much work or too much life, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And we fail to reach that balance. No? To me, I think personally, the indicator is really on how productive you can be, both in life and at work. No, when you fail to produce something out of what you do based on your priorities in your own cycle, when you fail to be productive, then that's already a bad sign. Okay?
Okay.
Okay, that you might be stretching your life too much. No, you might be procrastinating, or you might feel lazy, or there's just too much work. No? That you
Okay.
fail to deliver on what's expected of you, both in your life and at
Mm-hmm.
work. Okay, so again, in a nutshell, I hope I'm making sense. That's really how I would like to bring some perspective, no, to this particular topic.
Okay, okay. So I like what you said about work-life integration. So I mean, it's like multitasking of your work, as long as work, and of course your personal life, as long as you can do it at the same time. So, but of course, there are people who are. I've worked with a lot of people. There are some that what they want is that when it's work, it's really work. I mean, they cannot do two things at the same time. So this concept that you're talking about, it doesn't apply to all. So, but is it something that you can, I mean, you can choose, or I mean, is it something that you can change? I don't know. Kasi it's a new thing that we've heard also, work life integration.
It's not for everyone. Okay, let me just put that forward. No, it's a new it's a new concept, I would say, no, if I may call it that way. It's a new concept that people can actually explore,
Mm-hmm.
especially if they're finding it difficult to create work-life balance. If they find
Okay.
it difficult to do 50-50, then it's another perspective that they can actually look at the end of the day. People make decisions, people are smart inherently. So it's at the end of the day, it's their choice, no? If they cannot keep up that balance, or they struggle to keep up that balance, then I'm offering a solution, or I'm offering a potential concept that they can explore, which is work-life integration. That's what
Okay.
I just wanted to say. That's why I shared that concept to
Yeah.
this show.
Okay. So,
Right.
okay. Remy, ikaw, you have anything to, kasi I know that you're learning something from Danzi.
Yeah.
So,
Mhm.
yeah, how do you
Well,
think
I actually just want to have one question for Sir Danch, because one of the biggest challenges of working from home is, the temptation to work long hours. I know that we should establish, what do you call this, a boundary, but without the physical separation between work and personal life, it's easy to blur the lines and work beyond your usual hours. So, Sir Danch, how can you avoid the temptation to work long hours when working from home?
Mhm.
Well, it's very simple, no, just switch off, no, just unplug. No, it's, I think, in today's world, again, because I mentioned earlier, uh, the demands of the working world has changed. Now that people are very much used to delivering work, even if they're in the comfort room or in the restroom, holding onto their phones. No, because it has significantly changed. I think we need to have that deliberate. I would say it has to be deliberate. It has to be a deliberate decision to unplug,
Mm-hmm.
no, and to disconnect. Okay. If you are, again, if you are becoming less productive than usual, that's already a sign, and that to me is already quite alarming. No. So and if you feel that there's just too much work and you're so stressed about it that it affects your productivity, then my simple answer to that question is just unplug.
Right,
Just
right.
have that
Mm-hmm.
conscious decision to disconnect, to unplug, and to recharge. No, get your mind, or get yourself to do something else, something that will help you feel satisfied, something that will help you feel more productive, even if it's about your personal life. No, like what you said earlier, you're doing painting, etc. That's a concrete way of, I would say, saying or telling yourself that I've been productive for the day because I was able to finish this artwork.
Mhm.
So these small things really help. No, but again, unplugging or disconnecting is a conscious decision, no? And it's a conscious and deliberate decision that we all have to make.
Right. But Sir Danch, how can you communicate your boundaries and expectations with your employers
Yeah.
and coworkers when working from home?
I think it goes both ways. Eh. Right now, I think employers, especially the companies who allow work flexibility, they set ground rules, okay,
Mm-hmm.
which we need to understand. No, but if those ground rules are not present, then we need to have a consensus, no, with our employer, with our managers, no, with our supervisors. We have to have that discussion about norms. Okay, what's acceptable and what's not acceptable. So it's I would say it's a psychological contract, no, between you and your employer in the absence of rules. Because I know for a fact that a lot of companies have set certain guidelines, certain rules. No, some of them are very deliberate. Like for example, some companies have decided not to schedule any meetings between 9 to 11. No, so all meetings should start from 11 and it should end before 5. No, before 4. Some before 4 p.m. So 11 to 4, yun lang yung that's the only window when you can schedule meetings. No? So there are companies who are like that. So you have to be really aware of what the norms are in your company. If they're not very explicit, then you have to raise your hand and ask so that expectations are managed. No, the good thing about the companies now, I believe they're very open to flexibility, or at least the concept of flexibility. No? And if they're really true to their word, then they will be open to hear it out, no, from employees. No? So if you have suggestions, do not be afraid to let your employers know. No, but usually there are rules. No, but in the absence of those rules, then you need to establish that psychological contract between you and your manager.
Yeah. I think it's all about the proper communication. I mean, there are countries when it comes to having that work-life balance concept, they really apply it in their job or in at work. So there's this one friend. He told me about his the difference of working from he used to work in Singapore and then he transferred all the way from Singapore to Australia. Uh, the timeout was well, the timeout in Singapore when he used to work there is at least around 6 to 7 p.m. But there are times that he gets to go out at least around 10 p.m., 11 p.m. It's very late. Now he knew the fact that when it's where he's talking about Singapore, the people there are really hardworking people. So they tend to work their ass as in all the way until midnight if it's needed. When he transferred all the way to Australia, the timeout was is also the same, 6 p.m. But at around it was this was ano he told me about this story. This was his first day at work. It was at least around 4 p.m. And then his office mate told him that they needed to turn off their computers already and mag-usap na lang daw. So parang it's just casual, just talking to each other. And then by the exact time of 6 p.m., they all went to the beach and had their regular physical activity. I mean, it's part of the culture. When I mean, it if it applies to Australia, I'm sure other countries do the same. But I think it's about the proper communication as well. So as like what Danji have mentioned, it's you just have to tell your boss if this is one thing that struggles you. So that I like what Danji said, the psychological contract with your employer. It's one thing that you should also have to prioritize with. I mean, that's one thing I appreciate about this discussion. How about you, Jeannie?
Well, well, as for me, I think I've mentioned this before. I am a people pleaser and I tend to say yes to anything despite of the time, the boundaries and all. But this actually helped me to really raise this kind of concern because I know I'm not the only one who's been struggling in this kind of situation. So yeah, I think having like a boundary between your life and your personal life and your work is really essential, especially to your mental health. I think
Yeah.
it really affects you. So yeah, I think that's the thing that I've learned today. And it actually leads you as well into what I've mentioned is the mental health. What do
Mm-hmm.
you think? Well, my second, sorry, my next question would be, what do you think would be the warning signs of burnout? Because you haven't had, like, for example, establish this kind of boundaries between you and your life, and you tend to get burned out. So what do you think are some of the warning signs of burnout, and how can you prevent it when working remotely?
Okay, so basically burnout, and to a certain degree, no, anxiety, no, if we relate that to mental health. I'm not an expert to mental health, but I did experience a couple of team members, or direct reports I had. No, I had two of them who had mental health issues. No, I hope not because of me, no, but maybe because of the environment, because of the pandemic. So it took a toll on their mental health, and it's really a very serious matter. Um, I guess the real warning sign is what I've mentioned to you. You tend to be not so productive like what you're
Mm-hmm.
used to. I think that's the number number one sign. Second, I've noticed that people who are experiencing a bit of anxiety and to a certain extent burnout, they tend to over complicate, overthink. They tend to I would say magnify really very simple and minute issues, no? And they really spend a lot of time trying to figure out something that is rather very simple. Okay. To me, that's a sign, no? That once you look at things that that are rather simple and you overthink, you complicate things, you say a lot of things about something that is really simple. And yun nga, your productivity levels are also affected. To me, that's already a sign. No? And some
Okay.
people, it also manifests physically. You tend to lose weight or gain weight. No, depends on how you eat. Your eating habits. No, it's also affected. Your sleeping habits are also affected. So it tends to manifest physically. It may turn to be as like what happened to my friend here, Floyd. It developed into a brain tumor, uh, which has obviously affected he had frequent headaches, etc. Some
Mm.
people, they get usually gastrointestinal problems, no?
Yeah.
Because they tend to skip meals, or their usual habit of eating is actually disrupted, no, or distorted, of sorts, no? So to me, those are the warning signs. I mean, personally, if you wanna check yourself, no? But I think what's really more important is what other people will tell you. No? Sometimes a lot of us don't listen to friends, especially the closest ones. A lot of us don't listen to family, but they're the ones who know us, and who see us every day, and who I mean, there's this relationship that's ongoing. So sometimes if they call you out, you look stressed, or you look unwell, then I guess you won't lose too much if you listen to them. And that's also a sign when the people closest to you already tell you that there's something wrong, then I guess it's really time to it's really a good time to listen to them, because most of us, we tend to ignore. We tend to ignore our family. We tend to ignore our friends. Uh, yun.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it makes sense. I mean, no, sometimes we get to look for answers without us knowing. The answer is really right in front of you. You have your loved ones, you have your close friends who've been trying to tell you things about what changed about you, and then we tend to just disregard those. whatever they've been saying. I mean, what Dad just said. I also experienced that with my wife, with my family. So at some point, my wife just told me that suddenly I've been having that. I've been very hot headed. I mean, simple things that should not be an issue. It gets to be an issue for me. So yung pala, those are the things that are part of being burnt out already. So and
Sorry Flo, isa pang
yeah,
experience no
yeah.
that I had with the direct report. Sometimes kung magpapahinga siya, matutulog or kakain, no, magpapaalam. Parang Danji or boss, pwede ba akong magpahinga? Can I take a few hours of rest? Can I
Mhm,
take a vacation?
mhm,
Can I eat first? No. I think it really boils down to perspective also. And to me, it's like,
mhm.
it's not even, you don't even have to ask. You don't even
Yeah,
have to ask if you want to go on vacation, if you want to take a time off, if you want to eat, if you want a few hours of rest, then go ahead. No, it's your body, it's your choice, it's your life. You don't have
yeah,
to ask for permission because some of us have that perspective that I need to look good in front of my boss, and in order to look good, I have to be a slave. No, I have to be a slave in front of him. No, which should not be the case. At the end of the day, your body is your body. No,
yeah,
do not let anyone own it for you. No, you
yeah,
have to take care of it, and things like resting, things like eating, you don't really have to ask for permission. No, it's you who's really supposed to manage and take care of your health at the end of the day.
so the guilt should not be there, but I think it's just having that proper communication at the same time. Because I mean, there are cases. No, let's face the fact that there are cases that we're having that hesitation to file a couple of days of leave from work, pero. It's your right that you have to file those leave because you know that once you get back from having that leave, you are already re-energized, and at the same time you're ready to get back into the game. So I think that's one thing that we also have to prioritize, no? So Jamie, makinig, di ba? I mean, we
Yeah, I've been awfully quiet kasi I've been listening kasi lahat ng sinabi ni Sir Danch na mga warning signs parang ako yun ah. But yeah, recovering from burnout takes time, and it's essential to prioritize your well-being to prevent it from happening again in the future. So
sorry.
I think I don't know if
Ah, nawala yung
is
sound,
Jamie on
Jamie.
mute.
Okay.
oh,
Nawala
I
ka.
na-mute
Yeah,
ako.
there.
Ayan. So,
Okay.
yeah, as mentioned, by taking steps to care to yourself, set boundaries, and seek support, you can overcome burnout and improve your overall well-being. And I will take note on those things that you mentioned para
Yeah.
sa akin din naman. Yeah. So we have a question from Jessie. She asked, "How do we deal with managers who find it hard to understand these boundaries we tend to put?" Oh, that's a very good question.
Yeah.
Okay. I may have a very controversial answer to this question. No, you don't deal with them. No. Why? Because at the end of the day, managers look for output. They look for
Mhm.
productivity, and they're the ones who should notice, the difference if you're unable to produce anything. Okay. Um, I think there's a perfect timing, that you need to establish. Again, going back to what I've said earlier, that psychological contract is very important. If your manager is finding it hard to understand the boundaries that you want to put, then maybe it's just you who's putting those boundaries in without letting him know. Okay. So again, it all boils down to establishing that psychological contract. Then you have to ask the manager, what sort of do you want me to put up boundaries? No? Or maybe trying to put it in a better way, just ask a question, because sometimes asking a question is the safest way to deal with issues like this. Maybe you ask him a question: how do you yourself, as a professional, ask your manager, how do you set up boundaries for yourself, no, between your life and your work? And maybe you can learn a thing or two from what your manager will have to say.
Yeah. Okay, so Jesse, I hope that you learned something from there. Dan, let's also talk about how, I mean, you've been working with as an HR, handling a lot of people, thousands of people, as we say, and then how with all of the companies that you have worked with, um, how you guys were able to adjust when let's talk about working on a remote setup. So how you guys were able to adjust in terms of having that work life balance and working at the same time? Was it something that at first it was a struggle, or it was something that made all the companies that you have worked with, for example, the company you're working right now, was it something that you were able to make all of the employees become more productive because of that kind of the new work setup?
Well, in the current company that I'm working for, no, we've learned a lot, especially because of the pandemic. No, we learned how vulnerable we are as human beings. We learned how vulnerable our business can be, and at the same time, we've learned that people can actually deliver things um, in a very creative way. You know?
Mm,
And part of that creativity would be the flexibility that they employ at work. And as a result, the business really turned out to be well, no, in the last 2 or 3 years, no, if I'm not mistaken. Um, I don't think it has been a very difficult shift, no, because working remotely has been existing, no, for a while now, even before the pandemic. But the pandemic kind of accelerated it or took it to a different level, no.
mm,
So I guess it's an acceptable concept already, especially with multinational organizations, and of course some big local organizations are of the same thinking, or at least heading towards that direction. But to me, it was not really a very difficult shift, especially when it comes to work that allows flexibility, you know, as mentioned. Because again, may mga trabaho na hindi eh, no? Like for example, if you
mhm,
work in a factory, you're expected to produce something in front of machines, etc. You can't employ much flexibility there, unless you bring in technology like robotics, etc. In driving, if you're a Grab driver, for example, you cannot work from home. You need to drive. No? You need to be in your vehicle, and uh, drive your passenger to wherever. No, so it wasn't really a difficult shift. No, but I think right now the people are now starting to look for interaction, no? Face to face, warm body type of interaction. I think that's we're heading. I know we might be going back to how it was before the pandemic, no, but I think right now people see the value of uh, collaborating with teams, for example, physically.
mhm,
Okay, because we're starting to see people actually coming back to the office, even if
mhm,
we only require them to do 50-50. No, because some of them, number one, they don't have the right connectivity at home, or they don't have the facility, or maybe it's too noisy. They have a lot of children running around, so they tend to feel that the home environment may not necessarily be conducive for a working environment, no, and we're open to that, no. Again, i think I think again, integrating both concepts is very important, no, but to me the key word here is flexibility, allowing people to basically work anywhere, no, and deliver results, no, the same level of results at the same time. So
okay.
it was not really
So
hard. It was not really hard, Floyd.
okay. So well, that's good to hear. Kasi nga, I mean, yeah, we've seen companies that were able to grow through the years, regardless of the situation. It's because, as what Danji mentioned, people learned about collaboration. But let's talk about more about working remotely. Um, Danj, what do you think can be disadvantage or advantages or disadvantages of someone who are working remotely?
Okay, I mean advantages. I think it's pretty much laid out, no. And a lot of us know the advantages of working remotely. No, you can work at the comfort of your own home. You don't have to change to working clothes. No, you can wear a nice shirt, a nice polo shirt on top, and you can wear boxers, no, at the
Mhm.
same time. So it's really the comfort of working from a place that you like, if I may. I think that's one of the advantages. Of course, you don't have to travel to the office, especially here in Metro Manila. We experience a lot of traffic, as we spend hours on the road just by traveling, no, to and from the office, no. So it saves you time. I think that's again one of the advantages. One of the disadvantages, again, to me, from my perspective and the way I've seen people work now, one of the disadvantages is really engagement and collaboration between teams and team members. You just cannot establish that, by engaging with them virtually. No,
Mhm.
there's an unexplainable bond that you establish when you sit next to each other, when you talk um face to face. No, there's that bond that you establish that's really hard to explain, no. And
Yeah.
people just look for that, no. And to me, working from home or working remotely just cannot establish that bond, no. I have an experience now when people, for the longest time, they haven't really met each other. They only see their faces on screen, and for the first time when they've met, no, literally it was still the pandemic, but they hugged each other, no, because they felt that we needed that physical touch, we needed that physical connection for us to seal the bond, no, which has not been existent, which has been non-existent for months, no. And
Okay.
to
Okay.
me, I think as human beings, we still look for that physical connection. I would say, no, if I may put it that way, to establish stronger bonds in companies, no, and when you have those bonds and connections, no, strong connections in companies or in places of work, you feel more engaged, no, and at the end of the day, you perform more than at levels that are beyond what's expected of you, no? So
Okay.
I guess working remotely is, those are one of the disadvantages. That's why I think a lot of companies are now embracing hybrid setup because they
Okay.
respect the advantages and disadvantages of both types of modes, or both modes of working.
Mm-hmm. And I think, Sir Danch, one of the disadvantage is, working from home, yung feeling isolated kind disconnected.
Mhm.
So how do you maintain your social connections while working from home most of the time?
If you're working from home, then I guess the nearest person or the closest person to you. You have to really make time to talk to them, no? Be it your lola or if you don't have anyone with you at home, then I suggest you get a pet and talk to your pet. No, it's that, again, to me, physical connection is, I think, it's human nature, that when we socialize, we want physical connection. We want to see a warm body in front of us. No? So even if you're working at home, I guess for you to maintain your, I would say, social well-being, you have to grab anyone, no? Maybe it's your neighbor, punta ka sa kapitbahay mo, or spend like 15 minutes talking to whoever in your house, your mom, your dad, or your wife, or your children, even if they don't understand you, take that time, because it really helps. It really helps. Again, it's human nature. It's human nature that we always long for physical connection.
Okay. Okay. Well, okay. Danji, in terms of personal choice, what do you prefer? Work in the office, work from home, or remote work setup, or purely hybrid setup?
For me, I think the answer to that question is really, I'm not a fan of working from home. I'm not also a fan of working from the office. I don't take sides, no.
Okay.
But I'm a fan of flexibility. Okay.
Okay.
There are types of work, there are types of deliverables that can actually be done best in the office, or at least in an office setup. There are also types of work that can actually be done at home. No,
Mm-hmm.
and I think as a professional, it's something that you really have to be aware of, and you have to establish at the same time. And once you've made that kind of self awareness, no, to what can be done at home and what can be best done in the office, then flexibility comes in. So to me, I think hybrid, I think, is closest to flexibility, because if you say hybrid, you can work from home, you can work from the office. It's just really a choice, no. But to me, flexibility means not just working from home, but working anywhere, working while driving, working, while cooking your favorite dish. So it's beyond just the work from home concept. So to me, I'm all for flexibility, personally.
Yes. Okay. I like that. So yeah. So we're down with the last 8 minutes. Well, last 7 minutes of our show. It's been a very productive session. So maybe Dan, can you help our communities? Right now we have 239. Well, we have more than
Nine, yes.
250 viewers in our Kumu and our Facebook. Any tips for those people who are having that struggle when it comes to work, working, working, having a balanced work and of course a balanced personal life?
To me, I think it's very important, no, uh, to be self-aware.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I think that's the very first step, no. You have to be aware of the things that you can do and you cannot do. No, you have to be aware of your personal values, your non-negotiables, and the things that you can be flexible about. Okay, and once you've established that as a baseline, then start building from there. No, you're the norms that you think will work best for you. No, there is no single formula. No, for working or for to become more productive at work. There's no single formula. Each of us has our own preferences. No, but set the baseline. No, try to reflect on your experience. Try to reflect on how have you been at work, no, recently, and what worked for you, what didn't work for you. List them down. No, just make a very simple list of the things that you really value, your non-negotiables, and the things that you can be flexible about. And from there, you can really try to figure out, no, what may work best for you, and don't be afraid to fail, no, and try new things, because at the end of the day, it's again, it's your life, no. So even if you try and you fail, you just have to try again, no, and it's really part of the self awareness journey. Okay, there's really a lot of trial and errors that need to happen for you to find that sweet spot where you can be productive, based on whatever setup you might have for yourself, no? So to me, just set that baseline, personal values, non-negotiables, what can you be very flexible about. Try to come up with the list and start building from there. And by building, I'm saying do some trial and error, do some experiments, etc. And I'm very sure you will find the right I would say mix for you.
Okay. Oh, so Jamie, what can you say about the new tips that we learned from Danny
Well,
today?
as for me, it actually boils down to one. Well, personally, I think it's really important to set boundaries. It's very essential for you to maintain a healthy work-life balance and preventing burnout. So, without clear boundaries, it's easy to blur the lines between work and personal life, leading to stress and exhaustion. So here in Tache, we give all opportunities that will help you get that kind of boundary, whether you're working remotely or on site. We have job postings available, so you can check it in our screen below. And our team left a comment where to apply. So contact us if you want to join and be part of Tache.
Okay. So again, thank you so much, Danji. We learned so much from you. Thank you so much. We hope that we'll have you again in the future in our
Thank
show.
you.
Yes, thanks,
Thank
Sir
you,
Dan.
guys.
A lot.
Thank you,
Yes.
Dan. Thank you, Dan.
All right.
So, again, for those who are with us in our show, we have almost 300 viewers already. So, yes, if you are looking for a work life balance career, so we offer that here in Tache. We have lots of opportunities, job opportunities for you if you're looking for positions like junior designer, quality control specialist, structure engineer. What else? Virtual assistant or executive assistant, CAD specialist. We have lots of positions. We have more than 100 positions available. So if you think you're the kind of person who's qualified to apply, so just go to our link there. You see it below, or
And
you
in the
just go to
comment
our.
section. Mm-hmm.
Ayun, it's also in the comment section. Yeah, so I mean, mga nag-hello pala in our comment section. Hello to Sam, to user 867. So hi, hello, hello. So those who are interested to apply in any of our position, you can see it from what Lou commented. You'll see it there. You see the link, or you can go to our Facebook page or our social media page. Just type or key in Tache Careers. So that's TAHCHE careers, so that you'll see what are the positions available in Tache. So, Jamie, so what do you think about today's topic?
Eye opener. It's an eye opener for me. I was a bit like quiet all throughout the interview because I was listening, and
Yes,
I
I
hope.
felt it.
Yeah, but to all our viewers, I hope this talk has given you valuable insights on maintaining a healthy work-life balance while working from home. Remember, guys, finding the right balance takes time and practice, but with the strategies.
Oh, wait. Jamie, you're on mute.
Bakit ako nag-on-mute?
Okay.
Ayan.
Okay, go
Yes.
ahead. Again,
So
again,
yeah,
again.
as mentioned, guys, remember finding the right balance takes time and practice. But with the strategies Sir Danch discussed, you can enjoy benefits of remote work while maintaining a fulfilling personal life. So,
That's
and
nice.
thank you guys for tuning in. How about you, Sir Floyd? What did you learn pala in our
I learned
discussion?
about work life integration, and
Yes,
I
that one too. Mm-hmm.
having that psychological contract. So pag si Danji talaga yung discuss, we get to learn a lot of things from the guy.
Tsaka mga technical terms which is I really
Yes.
love.
So
Yes. Mm-hmm.
yes, of course, of course. That's what we do here in Tache. We bring into you guys the best people we can present, so that you'll not just learn from our you'll not just get job opportunities from our show, but at the same time you'll also learn a lot of things from the Gen Z show. So that's what we have here in Tache Careers. Okay, so we're
Yeah.
done already in our today's episode. So this is episode 19. Thank you so much for joining us here in the Gen Z show. We'll see you again next Monday. So this is Floy and I'm with Miss Jamie. We'll see you next
Yes.
Monday at 5 p.m. to 6 p.m.
Thank you
So
guys. See you on
bye.
Monday.
See you on Monday.